The first thing I noticed wasn't the leaking pipe. It was the silence. Not empty, heavy, like the room was holding something it didn't want to say out loud. And then she asked a question that made me forget why I was even there. Her name wasn't Samina anymore. Let's call her Lena. She moved in next door 6 months earlier. Quiet, polite, almost invisible. The kind of neighbor you notice only because you don't know anything about them. She smiled often, but it never reached her eyes. You could tell it was the kind of smile people wear when they're trying to convince the world they're okay. Inciting moment. It was raining the day she knocked on my door. Soft, steady rain. The kind that makes everything feel smaller. My basement pipe burst, she said, almost apologetically. Not just worried. I said yes before she even finished the sentence. Maybe I needed something to fix. Rising tension. That's how I ended up in her basement. Concrete floor. Damp air. Flickering yellow light that kept cutting the room into pieces. Water slowly spreading across the ground. I was kneeling there with a wrench, trying to stop the leak when she stepped closer. Quiet footsteps. And then she asked it, softly, "Do you ever feel like your life fell apart, but no one noticed?" My hands froze. Not because I didn't understand. Because I understood too well. Internal conflict. I didn't answer right away. Because the truth is my life didn't collapse all at once. It faded. A job that went nowhere. Friends who stopped calling. Dreams that quietly adjusted themselves into something smaller, safer. From the outside, I was fine. Inside, I felt like I had become a background character in my own life. So I nodded, still staring at the pipe. Because turning around would mean admitting it out loud. Her story. She started talking. Not dramatic. Not emotional. Just honest. She said she used to have plans, direction, energy. Then life didn't break. It shifted. Small disappointments, small compromises, small moments where she chose to keep going instead of asking if she was still happy. Until one day, she didn't recognize her own life anymore. The basement got quieter, the dripping louder, and suddenly it wasn't just her story. It was ours. Turning point. I tightened the last piece of the pipe. The leak stopped. Silence. Real silence this time. Then she asked another question. Do you think people like us can fix things? Not pipes. Life. I exhaled slowly. I don't think everything can be fixed, I said. And maybe it shouldn't. She looked at me. But maybe the point isn't to go back, I added. Maybe it's to build something new from what's left. Something in her face softened. Just a little. But it mattered. Change begins. After that night, we started talking. At first, sluchina. Short conversations over the fence. A how are you that actually waited for an answer. Then longer talks. About regrets. About missed chances. About the quiet fear that maybe it was too late. There was no pressure. No expectations. Just two people realizing they weren't as alone as they thought. Transformation. The changes were small, but real. I started waking up with a reason. Thinking about things I'd stopped allowing myself to want. She changed too. Her smile became real. She spent more time outside, in the sun, in her garden, like she was slowly letting life back in. Climax, emotional realization. One evening, she said something I still think about. Sometimes it only takes one honest conversation, she said, to remind someone they're not stuck, not broken, not invisible, just paused. Ending. That night in the basement wasn't about a broken pipe. It was about two people standing in the middle of quiet lives that had slowly fallen apart and choosing for the first time in a long time to notice and maybe to start again.